Well, hello. Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics.
And
I'm
start new
here.
ways.
Say what?
And start new ways.
And our way. I'm here with some amaretto and my lovely, wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Happy Friday, guys. Glad to
Yes,
have you
happy.
guys tonight. We have an interesting show.
We do. And we you know what? We actually talked before this one. So that was kind of cool, weird, nice. We usually don't get to talk to each other like before the show very much at all. We just send each other links all week. Hey, research this. Hey, research that. Okay, you do this then. So anyways, we have some community news for you. First thing I'll do, look at Christy and her awesome hair. What week are you on?
Look at that. 47 weeks today.
47 weeks of growing out your
It is
silver
like
vixen hair.
down to here.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. I can't wait. I still have this like solid dark stripe, but it's only in the front because right behind it is nice and silver. Although the lighting sucks in here, so you can't really tell. But yeah,
We can tell a bit though.
All silver. I'm
This is
so excited for that.
This is kind of what you were like waiting for though. Like as of like
Yes.
the last couple weeks is like, ooh, wow. It's
Right. I wanted
truly
to
like
look
silver
on
vixen.
purpose instead of like, "Ooh, she needs to get those roots done."
It's definitely not anymore. This is a look.
That was the scariest part. I looked at the whole community of silver sisters growing out their hair, girls in their 20s, 30s, all the way up to 70s. And they were so inspiring, but it was so scary to just be like, I don't know if I can do, what will it look like? I have no idea. What if it looks horrible? And then once it was, this long and I could see that there were some pretty cool colors in there, I was like, okay, just grow. Grow. Yeah, so silver.
I did. That's awesome. That looks good. All right. We have some
jewelry colored hair. Silver. Yeah, precious silver. Metal colored hair. There we go.
It's really it's so nice.
Thank you.
Like, I hope I keep my hair long enough to have a good color like that.
Yeah,
I can only
silver on men is so distinguishing. It's like never dye that. As men, don't do it. Don't just let it come in the salt and pepper on the sides first and then just look. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. In your beard, don't cover that. I'm telling you, every woman, not a little girl, every woman I've ever talked to about beards or silver hair on men, they're like, oh yes, don't cover that. For men out there who have silvers going on, leave them, I promise. Yeah.
It's true.
Jimmy
I've heard.
Dore. I'm talking to you, Jimmy Dore.
Ooh. All right, so we have actually quite a bit of community news this week. This is kind of why we're starting with it. So we have some fundraisers. We have 3, and Christy knows more about them than I do. So she's going to kind of guide us through those real quick. Just give you guys a summary of what's going on with each person and why we are advocating for their fundraising.
Okay. Beej.
Links are down below.
I will start with Beej Price first. She's just such a light in our community. She's such a great moderator, but besides that, every chat is better with her in it. It just is. And she helps me, her and I, and now we have a third mod on Atheist Republic with Armin and Bobby. It was only Beej and I, and because there's only one because she can't be there, and sometimes I can't be there. Normally it was always Beej. So now we have 3 so that he can at least have somebody there. And it's not her fault. She has really, really old contraption. I think that's what it was called. But she just wants a tablet, something that she can participate in, do a few things, and she's not planning on doing putting her face out there or anything like that. The fundraiser is under a PayPal that I created under LEAH for her because she doesn't want her name or anything out there. So she is Beej Price. That is who she is, and it needs to be respected. And hers is just about making it so that she can participate again because I really need her help, and she does a lot for a lot of channels. She's just always participating and a joy to be around. And so her fundraiser is down below.
She was actually one of my first subscribers for Grey Skeptic. I've known her for a really long time, and I really appreciate every time she's in the chat and every time she leaves a comment. She really is an active participant in our community, and so is Apetivist, who we're going to talk about as well. But they're both really staples in our community, and it'd be nice if we can just help them stay involved, because when your computer crashes or you don't have some way to interact with a community like ours, sometimes you get lonely, especially since we're like an atheist community. Like, you don't have a community at church, right?
Time for this to happen to her.
It's a really bad time for this to happen.
Right. So she also is very knowledgeable. I wanted to add, Armin talks about a lot of topics that most Americans don't have a clue, because it's world news, what's happening in India with Hindus versus Muslims and lots of these stories, and she follows them, and so she's able to add links and add commentary, and I'm just saying she really deserves this. She deserves everyone to just give $1. I mean, seriously, that would be amazing for her. This has been going on for quite some weeks, and it happened. We decided to do this right before all of this pandemic happened, so we do understand that it's going to take a while, but we don't want to not do anything. We want to do something. And then Apetivist was one of my very first friends in the atheist community, and we've had some long conversations. He's talked about his military experience. He's a veteran. How he went from being very conservative and very indoctrinated to one of the most open-minded, gentle, kindest humans I've ever met. And I feel like I could tell him anything and he would never even judge without letting me know. It would just be like, okay, so then what? What else do I adore him, and I don't have a living grandpa that that I can talk to. My dad's dad is still alive, but we don't have that type of relationship. I just wasn't raised on chat. My pops who comes to chat, I wasn't raised in Tennessee where he lives, and I talk to Abe often, and it just feels like a surrogate pops, a surrogate grandpa. I just adore him, and his wife is so sweet. Okay, and they live in an area that is it's a little bit more scary to live in when you are a open-minded atheist. Where he lives is in the South, and he can't be out as an atheist. It would be dangerous to him. He needs assistance showering. He needs assistance doing a lot of things. I won't go into all of that because his link, I'm so impressed with the presentation that was put together for his fundraiser. It's in depth, exactly what's going on, who he is, exactly what his itemized expenses are, what goes out. I mean, he is like an open book so people can see. And the reason why he needs help, him and his wife need help, is just to relocate somewhere where he is safe, somewhere where him and his wife are safe, somewhere more open and liberal. It doesn't even have to be, like all the way to California. I think even just like Austin, Texas, the ACA's there, somewhere safe. And he's had help to put together this written presentation of what he exactly needs, a truck to move things, a place. They have money coming in, so they'd be able to take care of themselves. They literally just need help to be safe, and they'll take it from there. So I implore you to read their story. It will take probably about 5 or 6 minutes. And it's inspiring and heartbreaking at the same time. So please, please, please read it. And then the third one, I don't know a lot about, except for it was a tornado and her roof came off. Her house is demolished. So she is her family is looking for insurance, and all of that is going to, help in the long run. But as of right now, she is like us. She's a regular American citizen. She doesn't have millions put away. She's not a hedge fund or a venture capitalist. She just needs help getting by now until then, when she can, have a home again. Until then, they literally lost everything in this tornado, which 6 lives were also lost for that tornado as well. These things happen, and I guess, and none of us know when something like that could happen to us. And it is wonderful to know that people that you've never even met. I've never met this girl, never. And I think that to know that there are people out there that are like, oh, wow, let's mention this too, because that's what we should do. There's no other way about it. Someone that is in our community just lost their everything because of a tornado and needs help. So let's mention it. If anybody watches this or hears about it or reads her story and is like, wow, I can financially help, I'm going to. Or I can't do anything but $1, that's still great. Or I can't do anything but share it with
Still a
other
big
people.
help.
That's wonderful. Share it with other people. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's a big part of what this community was like started for. Like the Facebook page and stuff is for stuff like this. Like, um, I started the Facebook group right after one of our the members of our community was having a hard time just getting insulin.
I remember.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, well, we need more of a safety net. So that's why we started this League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. So we can try to do good things for our community, because we're lacking a little bit of the community aspect of it. So we try and help in that area. So yeah, please help if you can do anything. Add $1, add 5, add 10, or share the link.
Yeah, LEAH is not in any way, shape, or form about owning theists.
No.
I mean, it's just not.
The point.
It's about kindness and education and learning and learning together and finding a new zeitgeist. A new way forward that involves not harming anyone.
Right. And trying to find humanist solutions to any kind of problems. So
yes.
That's what we try to do. All right. So the last part of the community news, I will briefly go through. I'm not sure if anyone had heard, any of our viewers. I'm sure there's a handful of you who did. But this past weekend, there was a shooting up in Nova Scotia, and this wasn't a normal kind of shooting by any means. This was pretty fucking insane. I heard about it at work, and I was like, "Oh, interesting. I have a friend up there," and I just, I didn't hear much about it at all. And then I opened my phone on, I think, Monday morning, and I was very shocked to see Shannon post about it, because that's her neighborhood. That's the friend I was thinking about, and I felt really bad for not reaching out sooner, because Shannon Q is like more of an acquaintance. I consider her a friend because I've known her for so long, but we don't know each other like super well. She was the first person I found in this community, and she has a little boy. I know that. A lot of us know that, because sometimes she has to hop off screen, like to go help her kid, which is wonderful. Fine, she's a good mom. But anyways, what I'm trying to get to is, so the shooter went out, and from what I remember of her explanation, is he was out for 12 hours. He covered 100 kilometers. He shot people out just taking a walk. I think he went up to some people's doors. He set houses on fire. He was dressed like a police officer. He disguised his vehicle as a cop cruiser. This was devastating to their community. He killed at least one officer.
It's terrorism.
It was terrorism. It was
Terrorism.
absolutely abhorrent, as most shootings are. But it went on so long, and he was dressed like an official. Like, it's so much scarier. And then she started getting texts because he got to her neighborhood, and then he got to what sounds like just her door. And that's terrifying. She was getting texts to stay away from your windows, stay inside, get away from your windows, take cover. And it was just her and her son there. And that's absolutely terrifying. And I'm just so glad that I was reading it, because that means she's alive and she got to write it. Because, I mean, like I said, I really care about Shannon Q. She's a really, really wonderful person. The reason I strive for decent discourse in the areas of discussion that we have is because of her. And I'm just like so glad that she's okay. I know we all are. And yeah, and a native atheist is asking, Shannon Q. Yes, Shannon Q, the Shannon Q.
It is demonstrable that this world is a better place because Shannon Q is in it.
It's true.
Period.
It's true.
She can talk to anyone, and even if the person she's talking to I loathe, I still get something from it. I don't know how she does it. So yeah, it's unacceptable what happened, and not almost written out of a horror movie.
Yeah, it was truly terrifying. And from what I've seen from her Twitter feed recently, there's been a few more potential shootings since then in her area. And it just, I don't know what's going on over there. But I really wanted to mention it, just because, like, we wish her the best. Like, we're here for support. If anyone can help, she has things going on for her community. I think the hashtag is Nova Scotia Strong. So check that out. Look at her Twitter feed. That's her main focus right now, and it should be. If there's anything you guys can do to help her and her community, I know she would really, really appreciate it. So take a minute and check that out too. But I just wanted to let Shannon know she's a friend of the show, friend of the whole community. That we're thinking about her, and we're glad that her and her son's okay.
Yeah.
So that said, anything you want to add to that, Christy?
I hope that even if you can't help out Shannon's, there's a lot going on right now. I understand most people can't even pay any of their bills.
Yeah.
Just letting her know that you see what's going on and you're with her. I'm standing with you. My heart. That's big. Imagine being in Canada and getting something from a whole bunch of different states in another country. Of we're standing with you. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Kindness matters. It really matters. It takes nothing to be kind. I mean, it takes more energy to be mean. Being kind is easy. So spread it. Spread it like the herp.
Like the herp.
Like the herpaphoncolitis. Make kindness the new herpaphoncolitis. And spread it.
All right. On that note, we're moving on, Christy.
Trying new things.
Thanks for that. All right. Where are we going next?
Wear a condom.
Wear a condom.
Wear a condom and then spread
Not
kindness.
if you're trying to spread the herp.
Oh, don't spread the herp. Don't do it. Spread
but
kindness.
I'm getting
like
messages here. Like, be there. Okay.
Like the gift that keeps on giving is what I meant. dig in a hole.
Dig it. Oh, yeah. We'll never be monetized ever, ever.
Oh,
All right, actually
no, I
moving
did not
on.
start.
Actually, no, of course not. Sandra Bullock. Okay. All right, we have things. We have things and stuff.
We have stuff and things. Hold on.
Stuff and things.
All
What?
of you.
Okay.
If you have not watched Notjaw Witness's video called Stuff and Things or Things and Stuff, it's whatever. It's one of those.
Stuff and things and stuff.
You're missing out on everything that's in life. That's all I'm saying. And the first time you watch it, it's so good. The second is better, but like the fifth and sixth is so funny. Like you can't even hear it because I'm laughing. Because it's actually simple and brilliant. And
one of our mods should get that in our live chat for everyone.
Yes,
real quick.
Please
Then
put
Notjaw
stuff and things. It's so good.
Thank you, mods.
Watch it once a week during this quarantine when you're like, I'm feeling like a little. Watch it because it's giggles and educational. I mean, you learn so much about stuff and things and putting things in stuff and things. So good. I just feel like I gained a lot from it. That's all.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all there is, and that isn't anymore.
Thank you.
All right. COVID-19. Gonna give you guys a couple updates real quick. All right. I'll do the numbers update that we've been doing. The United States has so close to 1 million. 925,000 confirmed cases. Recovered are 101,000, and deaths are, holy shit, 50% of that, 52,296. So,
yeah,
wow. I didn't even look at the numbers like that before. So we have, again, recovered, and the US is 101,000 cases, and deaths are 52.2 thousand cases. Wow, that's depressing. Worldwide is 2 million, or I don't have the whole number. 2,000,79. Recovered is 781,000, and deaths are almost 200,000. It's 196,000 cases here. So these numbers are still going up dramatically every day. It looks like Georgia, even though they opened up their economy, I think yesterday or today, I can't remember which, they arguably have not even hit their peak, and they just opened up their economy again. So that just means they're gonna have a whole new peak here in 2 weeks. Like Brian Kemp's stupid. We already knew Governor Brian Kemp was stupid when he launched his first campaign ad. Like he's one hell of a honky, but yeah. Oh God, he's just so dumb. So still, the United States is number 1 in coronavirus cases.
We're number 1.
Yeah, we're number 1. I know China's the worst, and just the worst country on the whole planet, and they probably have the most cases, but no, they don't. They have less than 10 times the amount of cases. At 84,000. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're number 9 on the list. Spain is behind us.
They have over 1 billion people, so that's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Per capita, we're still number 1. We have, it looks like, the most deaths. We have just barely the most recovered people. Spain has about a quarter of the amount of cases, and they're just 8,000 under us in recovered cases. That's insane. We are not doing well. And Germany has 154,999 confirmed cases, and they have 99,928 recovered cases, which is just not even 1,000 under us. They have almost a tenth, we'll say safely an eighth of the amount of cases, and just as many people recovered almost. So if that tells you how well we're handling the virus, it makes you mad and depressed at the same time. So there's some fun numbers for you. So again, the United States is still the epicenter. New York is the epicenter state of the United States, and I believe it is the Queens that is the epicenter of New York. So there's all those fun facts for you. Many states are opening back up for business starting May 1st. Some are doing it slow, some are doing it real quick. So that's that. So moving on from there, we have, what are we going to do about COVID here? We're still on this topic. You don't have to ask Nacha, sorry. I mean, it's not like we're actually moving on, or we're not.
We're just going to live here.
Yeah, we're just going to live here for like 10 more minutes. So the president said something kind of silly. I know that takes everyone like by surprise. Did you hear about the disinfectants? Did you hear about the disinfectants, Christy?
Yeah, we're supposed to be injecting them or consuming them, or we're supposed
to
shine
why we have
light through our body, an infrared light through our body, into our body,
or by other means,
or by
right. They're gonna test that out. And then he moved right on to like in Lysol, like disinfectants. He's like, and it kills them very quickly within seconds. It takes out the virus
within a minute.
Within
a minute. I mean, it's amazing.
Within minutes.
Nobody knew. Within a minute.
Right.
So,
and then we're gonna see if we can inject that, right? You guys said you would check that out.
Yeah. And then you can see the doctor's face, just like we don't do that. There's no studies that show that is acceptable.
They didn't say that. Like right away, they didn't say that.
No, not right away. No, his face was just like, oh shit, this guy's fucking off the, like, I can't right now.
All right, so he said that, and then today he walked it back. All right, he walked it back a little bit because his White House press secretary said he was misquoted, that his stuff was taken out of context. And I'm like, I actually listened to that part when it was happening.
Yeah, I watched it as it was happening. Yes.
Yeah. And no. So then President Trump was asked at the White House, and he said, no, that was actually a question that I was asking a reporter sarcastically, because I wanted to see what you guys would do about it. And one, it wasn't sarcastic. You can go back and there was no sarcasm. He was genuinely asking, not a reporter. He was asking the doctors, like, if they're going to check that out. He wasn't at, like, it's complete bullshit. And this isn't surprising. I don't even know why I mentioned it, except it was so nuts. And so many people called the CDC, and they called the state of Maryland, asking, like, can we do this? Is this okay? And the CDC had to post a picture showing, like, using any of these products in the wrong way can cause, like, serious, like, physical harm.
Death. It can kill you. Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. And, like, Lysol's parent company had to come out and be like, by no means whatsoever should this be injected into the body.
Ingested, consumed. No. Not for
It is
human consumption.
poison. That's what poison means. Ugh. So yeah, that's the thing that happened. Also, there is a bill. I don't know if it passed yet. This last bill. Do you know if it passed? The one for $484 billion.
Yes,
So there's it did
both
pass.
Democrats and Republicans. There were 4
Did,
Democrats that didn't. No, 4 Republicans that didn't, and 1 Democrat.
one Democrat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know it passed through the House. It passed through the Senate. Do you know that part?
No, I don't know that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll touch back on it later. It's fine. So out of this $484 billion that they just passed, $310 billion of it goes to the Small Business Paycheck Protection Program, which is kind of good. It's also not as good as it could be, obviously, because this is a small business protection plan, right? So when you think of a small business, how many employees do you think a small business has?
I think under 10.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like trying to think big
I've worked
to
at
cover everybody. I think maybe 50. Maybe
No,
like 50 would be like the
business,
most.
Yeah, maybe the most.
The most,
but
yeah.
I've worked at small businesses, big salons having, the most we had was 12, and that's with the owner being there. Stacy worked at a dentist, a family-owned dentist. There was 7 of them, sometimes 9. That's considered a small business. She made like 1-point-something million a year, the owner of that. That's a small business. To me, anything other is taking advantage of this.
Yes. So any small business with 500 employees or less can apply for this loan. And a lot of those companies who have closer to the 500 employees get these loans seemingly first. I don't really have the numbers, but I know that there have been a ton of actual small businesses like mom and pop shops that do not get this stimulus because larger companies soak up that money.
Right.
And it's, if you ask me, thanks for asking.
It doesn't trickle down.
No, it doesn't trickle down. And it's because we give this stimulus to a for-profit bank, a company, right? And then we tell them, hey, give these loans out. Because they're going to give them to a more profitable, larger business.
They're friends.
Because they're friends, right?
They're friends.
It makes more sense for them. It makes more sense. They have the potential to make more money off of it. But it's that's not what a small business is. That's part of why this legislation is bullshit. The other thing is the rest of that money. So that would be about 100 and I can't math right now. 174 billion dollars that's left goes towards trying to fund hospitals, get COVID testing, and then who else knows
it's an afterthought.
It's an afterthought. That's so sad. Like, why are we in this predicament? Oh, let's not really worry about that. But we need to open up the economy. We went through a lot of this last week, so I don't want to harp on it too much. But it's still so aggravating. And one of the things that I really wanted to point out with this is AOC. She was the one Democrat who did not vote for this bill. And her reasoning, she noted, was if you had urgency, you would legislate like rent was due on May 1st and would make sure to include rent and mortgage relief. That's why she didn't vote for the bill, because it doesn't actually help individuals or just normal working class people.
Yeah.
It helps small businesses that are actually kind of larger businesses.
Or corporations. You have
It's still
500 employees.
corporations.
Yeah, that's a corporation. And
We
your
need
$1,200 one time is nothing. That's many people's mortgage. So then what for everything else? It's just insane. It should be a pause on all of it. That should be legislated. A pause on all of it. So even the people at the top, because if a renter doesn't pay their landlord, the owner of the mortgage, then he can't pay his mortgage. Well, that's not fair. They both should be taken care of. And then the bank, if they pay loans, because they do, they borrow money and gamble with our money, they owe expenses. If they can't, like, freeze it from the top down. Nobody owes anything. That way, you just add those however months. It ends up being 4 months, it's 4 months. Ends up being 6 months, it's 6 months. But when we pick back up like it's the next month since the last month we paid rent. And that should be taken care of with a stimulus. And then people get back to work. And then if it's a mortgage that they're paying, well, those 4 months, 5 months, whatever it was, just add those to the end of the mortgage. Like, I don't understand. Just add it to the end. And the renters, well, there'll have to be some sort of different program for them. Maybe forgiven for them. And then the person who owns the house, they get a tax, incentive because they didn't get those rent payments. Well, then that comes out of their taxes. They don't have to pay it in taxes. Why not? We can do these things. Make it simple. It's just, I mentioned to Mac and Nacha that I want to start doing a segment called legislation plus education, and like just kind of go over basic education about legislation. And I think that would be really important.
I love it.
It wouldn't be a long segment, but if people want to go on the LEAH Facebook, maybe leave me a message about legislation that you're curious about, or put it in the comments underneath this video or in the chat, or send me a personal message, or send either one of the boys a message. Any legislation that you're like, I'm kind of curious about this. I will do a deep dive and will legislate it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Legislation is a great word, by the way.
It is. I'm pretty sure this is the link for the Facebook group. Right down below. Actually, I'll click it and test it. That worked.
Yes, and LEAH Facebook group is humanist page, so remember that.
Yeah.
You want to get into some hardcore debates? That's great. Go to Mac's channel. He loves that. He loves it. But yeah, you can have great conversations, even tough ones on LEAH, but it's not for like, well, you're an idiot, man. Like, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna. Yeah. I will personally put you in timeout. So
there you go.
And a scolding.
She'll do it. I've seen it. I've seen her do it. So yeah, because AOC made a really good point of like, we keep hearing that the real stimulus to help people is coming in the next bill. No, it's coming in the next bill. Well, it's coming in the next bill, but it doesn't really look like it's coming. So why do we keep passing bills? Why do we keep bailing out people who don't need a fucking bailout?
Because we live in a plutocracy.
We do live in a plutocracy.
99.999% for sure positive in my mind.
I didn't actually want you to tell me why, Christy. I didn't want to actually hear it. Shut your mouth.
Sucks, right?
Shut up. All right. We can move on. Next topic. This one I'm going to have to do off the top of my head because I didn't have time to take notes. But that's because it's a really basic thing here. Crude crash. I really liked the title to this one. It made me really happy. Yeah. I didn't come up with this one. It was on Nacha. Actually, he came up with all the slides, and they were great.
Yes.
Good job, Nacha.
And all the cool names, that's almost always Nacha.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah,
always. Like almost. 99
almost,
times out of 100.
almost. I get some good punny titles in there, but
yeah, sometimes Mac gets a good title. But sometimes, most of the time, we show up to the show like, oh, those are good ones.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right, so crude crash. If you guys haven't heard, the oil market crashed. It did worse than crash, guys.
It's negative.
Ominous. They were selling the barrels of oil for not $0. It was negative $37.
I will pay you.
Why? Why does that even make sense? Reason it makes sense. This is what I want to focus on, is why it makes sense and why it's a real problem. Is because they filled all of the strategic reserves for oil, at least in this country. And there's no place to fucking put it. And they're still trying to extract. Right. No one's buying. Demand is down, so the price drops. The price has dropped so hard because where are you going? I'm not going like next to anywhere. I'm spending way less on gas, and I am very happy about it. And I'm also happy about the price going down back to like when I started driving. That's wonderful.
Yes.
But it's so bad that they didn't have anywhere to put it. So like, please buy it. And they're like, to just store it? And they're like, sure, we'll pay you $37 extra a barrel.
Yeah.
To store it.
The barrel that the crude oil is in is worth more than the oil that's in it.
It's true. Wow, that's true.
Yes.
This
did start before coronavirus, though, guys. There's a lot of monopolies in the oil industry. A lot of to become a billionaire, you have to make decisions that are just a humanist would never do. It would hurt people. They can't make those decisions. Well, Israel and the U.S. and a few others didn't like that, other countries that they don't agree with wanted to produce oil or change it or produce more. And there's this cheaper to make, which means it would be cheaper in the market. Well, they don't like that. And that country was Russia. So Saudis flooded the market with their cheapest oil to undercut Russia on purpose.
And we helped them and made deals with them to help them do that.
We made sure
to overproduce on purpose.
Yes.
And hurt Venezuela.
Yes. And to hurt them, to hurt anyone who's not on our side. Yes. To make sure that we control that market. And then coronavirus showed up and said, hold my beer.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, but why? Because we make a profit off of that, or we get a good deal on that oil, right? Venezuela has nationalized their oil. Well, we don't get any profit. We don't get any.
It helps their people. And if we undercut them, if we undercut them and their oil money helps their people, well, then they can't help their people. But we do that on purpose. This administration was told about Venezuela, make their economy scream. That's like the opposite of being a humanist. That's being a maniacal maniac. Like it's an evil villain.
An Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. So that, in a nutshell, is the reason really I was going to give as why we have this problem is because of capitalism, for the most part, and everything that Christy just said. That this is a market, right? That the oil market is a market. Weird how that works, right. And there's so much competition, and all of these countries And all of these companies that extract oil try to do it to make a profit, right? This is simple stuff. I'm not saying anything crazy. But to the extent that we do this, oh, hey, look, Cabernacle is here. Welcome. To the extent that we do this, we have the potential of running into issues like this, where we have overproduced oil. We don't have anywhere to put it, and that market has just crashed. And what the hell are we going to do about it? It's just silly, is what it is. But we have the same issue. We have the same issue with food.
Yes.
We have enough food to like just feed everyone on the fucking planet.
Yes.
But since we do it for like such a profit, and it's just this market, we overproduce so much, and then we throw it away. Like, I work at a grocery store, and I stock certain more perishable items. I will be vague. And when those more perishable items get close to outdate, they say don't take them back to be clearance down. Throw them away. Like, we factor that into the price. If we mark them down, then that means we lose money on them, because people will just wait for them to be marked down. Then we can't do that. So if they get close to date, pitch them, throw them away. They don't even want us to like donate them. Like, I have to have the right person.
Oh my God, there are people starving. That's infuriating.
That doesn't matter. Because just like the coronavirus, and like, should we open up the economy or keep it closed down? What matters more? The economy, like, people making money more than the herd immunity, the life, whatever, right? It's always for profit. Capitalism, we have unfettered capitalism.
Yeah, it's
unregulated. It is a disease.
Yeah,
and we're going to get into that more very soon. But this is, I just wanted to make that parable and show that the way that we live our life day to day, and how we allow these companies, and yes, I say allow, like companies and our governments, to act the way they do with these open markets, it's wasteful and it's stupid. Like, we let things go to waste on purpose when other people could benefit from the excess oil, from the excess food, from excess electricity, like just about anything that you can name. We overproduce on purpose so we can sell things for a lesser price and beat someone else to the punch, and then their company goes down, and then their goods go down too, and sometimes they're wasted. But that's fine, because they won.
Mac, those are called losses.
Those are called
and losses on taxes is money in their pockets. So
yeah. So, there's that. There's it was more than just the oil I wanted to mention today. That's that was it. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Because what you added was perfect. So
it pisses me off. I just hate that system wouldn't be, those things wouldn't happen if our system wasn't built on profit over people. It just wouldn't. I had someone more conservative argue with me this week when I said, these dairy farms are just pouring out the milk because they don't have a way to get it out. And I'm thinking, okay, but it's milk that would have gone to a grocery store. Then let people know, and if they can come get it for free and take it off your hands instead of it just pouring into the ground, that they can have it. Like, do something.
See, this goes again to the effect of, if if we give away our excess, people will realize that if they don't buy things at the store, they can wait for the excess, and then I lose my profit. At least that's the mindset, right? We are always told, like, we're taught good economics, right? We're taught good capitalism is what we're taught, and it's just a one-way street. It's a zero-sum game, and it really, we only get one side, right? When you're going through college, usually you are taught good capitalism. You're not taught any kind of socialism. You're not taught any kind of communism.
You're not
any
taught
kind of this or that
economic
or these.
system, the economic systems that humans have come up with. Like, let's just talk about all of them and the counter arguments to all of them. No. We're taught capitalism and the counter arguments to all the other ones. Right. So there's that.
There is that. Next topic, Christy?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. All right, everyone buckle your seatbelts. This is something Christy and I talked about already today. This one's going to be interesting.
It is.
So it's all you, Christy. Take it away, girl.
So happy Earth Day. I am a self-proclaimed tree hugger. I've been that way my whole life, with animals, with the planet. It's just something that I've always prescribed to. And with magical thinking before, it was still something I mean, just always. Nothing, it didn't matter if I believed that there was a God or didn't. I always was a tree hugger and a nature girl. Well, I also have many times on LEAH and throughout my life said we really need to invest in biofuel and a few other things that I've supported out loud and promoted here on LEAH, and I have to actually apologize for them because I was wrong. And I had a very tough day, actually. I had a presentation for Earth Day, and it had, information that's not like full of hope, but it also had a lot of misinformation in it, and it would have been me telling you things that aren't necessarily true or were lies. And I found that out today. And I do have to add that when I found out that there wasn't a God, I was totally flabbergasted, kind of like, holy shit, I've been lied to. There's so much I don't know. But then I was pissed. And then I learned, I was like, what else can I learn? I never cried. I never had that like heartbreak. I was bawling today. It's so fucking heartbreaking. I apologize for saying that biofuels are a good thing and we should support it, because doing fact checking on biofuels, there are biofuel companies supported by Sierra Club, which I'm a member of, which cognitive dissonance for about 20 minutes straight today before I just broke that and have to have a different opinion. I have to write them a letter saying that I don't want to be a member any longer if they're going to continue to support a few things that I now know are not renewable. I feel like the tree huggers that are easily fooled, magical thinkers, have also kind of signed on to this new religion of, we just have to get rid of fossil fuels. They're the enemy, which I agree. They're not good to dig up for this planet. That is a fact. But we need to go to solar and wind and biofuels. And solar's cool and it's awesome, I thought, and wind turbines, awesome. There are lots of things that create energy. That's true. And I signed on to, we just need to be fucking done with fossil fuels. I know now that as of right now, there are There is not one other form of energy that can do what fossil fuels can do for this world right now. We do not have the science. And that right there is heartbreaking. More heartbreaking news. Sierra Club not only has been out there changing hearts and minds to move to fossil fuels, lobbying from fossil fuels to biofuels, lobbying for it, creating all of these new plants for biofuels. Biofuels are trees. Cutting down trees, adding tire chips or many other things, and burning them. The carbon dioxide is so much more than a fossil fuel plant would do with the CO2. They have to sign regulation permits for acid rain to exist. How the fuck is that green? And they need regular fossil fuels to run their plant to create this biofuel. That's fucking heartbreaking. Like, I know these were peer reviewed papers that have been done, on what we know about them. They are sometimes bringing in tire tax, the wooden tire. I'm sorry, train tracks, the wooden. Well, there are biofuel factories that one of the number one things they burn are those for train tracks, flown in from all over the planet. I don't know if they're called sleepers. I know they're just the wooden planks, and they are treated with so many chemicals so that the sun doesn't hurt them, the water doesn't, they're no longer wood at this point. There's some sort of like a petrified, because they can't have rot. They need to hold up a train. Those should not be burned where these bioplants are being built. I mean, some of them are right next to elderly homes, elementary schools, first starts, because they're considered renewable. And they're considered renewable per law that the Sierra Club, the environmentalist green people, the Sierra Club lobbied to put into law that they are renewable, because fossil fuels, it takes millions or more billions to create, which is true. Biofuel, it only takes, anywhere from 50 to 100. So that's renewable. However, fun fact, if every single goddamn tree in this country was burned to make energy, it would create energy for this country alone for 1 year. And how long would it take to put all of those back? I mean, this cannot be it. And then solar, I thought, well, my fucking bubbles popped, and now I've been wrong about all of this stuff. And this was so much more hurtful than losing God. It just was. I'm such a, optimist about all the things we could be doing. And I was always told, and everything that I looked into about solar panels is they're made with sand. We can even create sand. The fuck, it's made out of sand. That is a lie. It is made out of quartz. Quartz that has to be mined and blown up out of the side of a mountain. And then that quartz has to be burned and melted. I mean, it's a rock. And all of those chemicals that burn up or that are left over that have to be drained somewhere. Well, they turn it into some sort of paste and spread it on the desert floor out there where they're making these solar panels. It's killing the desert. The desert's not dead. The desert is this ancient thing, there's always been deserts. It's not up to us to create or change desert. It's so infuriating. And to know that solar panels are made to last for 10 to 15 years, and then you have to do it again. And to create that solar panel, either natural gas, which is fracked, or fossil fuels have to be used just to create it, not even mentioning the rare earth resources, minerals that have to be mined to create them. Child labor in Africa, in South America, in Venezuela. These rare earth minerals are mined under rifle. It is not everywhere. You know, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm saying these things do happen for these type of rare earth. All of the fossil fuels and the opposite of green and renewable things that have to go into creating a solar panel negates the fucking solar panel. And this is research that breaks my heart. Like, Stacey told me don't wear makeup tonight because you're going to cry, but I hope that part's over and I'm ready to. I've had to change my mind on a lot of it, because to push those things would be a lie. We do not have the science yet for them. Solar is wonderful. The technology that NASA has for solar panels, those that are out there, that is significant. We don't have that, and that would be too expensive. You know, that it still uses rare earth and all of the wrong things to create it. I'm just saying those have more power, and we have a lot of science to do. We need to invest into this. I do want to get off fossil fuels. Now knowing that biofuel is burning the fucking trees, the number one thing on this planet that is helping us not heat up, that is absorbing the things we need to, we're going to take them away. And because of fucking capitalism being the main force on this planet, when a third world country, people in that third world country find out through a billionaire's messengers, hey, if this village wants to make 20 grand, which would feed them for quite some years, take care of them for quite some years, I will pay you 20 grand if you go to this, untouched area and cut down all these trees for us. Well, now chimps and orangutans, they have nowhere to go because third world countries have no choice. They have a choice, a chance to make money that would help them. They're going to take it because we've made it like that. And I found out, which I've known, but now we've confirmed, the system of capitalism cannot exist without poverty. Poverty has to be a component. It must be a component in order to have capitalism. There has to be the haves and the have-nots. And I don't accept that. I find that immoral. I find it disgusting. I find it like, how can you sleep with yourself knowing that you have unlimited and there are people that have nothing? I just don't get it. And I'm not saying we should move to some crazy authoritarian, top-down dictatorship at all.
No.
I would never want anyone to think that. I want capitalism is not something that I'm ever going to in my lifetime see go away. I know that. However, if it is immoral, I can't stand behind it. And if there was a way to legislate protections, as they used to be called, regulations as they're called now, into them, and strong safety nets. I mean, strong safety nets, Scandinavian model safety nets, where if someone says, I'm not happy in my job as a citizen, I want to do something else, then the government helps them out with money each month, and school, because school's free, so that they can change their life. And if it takes 4 years, then it takes 4 years, because the country is investing in their citizen, which is now going to pay higher taxes because they have an even better job. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And Earth Day for me this year was the equivalent of becoming an atheist. My heart is broken. We are so fucked. We lost 50% of all living things on this planet in my lifetime. So we are an invasive species. And I don't want to say there's no way out, because I still do have hope. And having to change my mind on all of these things I thought were set in stone has been hard. Again, the two things that have to happen is human population. And I know that sounds so conspiracy theory. Oh no, not saying kill anyone that's alive. That's never going to be what I would stand for. But teaching each other and all the new generations that being a quiverful family is not moral. It's not moral. It doesn't, it takes away. We are an invasive species who have, we know we're here. We have consciousness. You know, we understand that we won't be here at some point, and that many others are going to come after us. And to take and take and take and take and not leave anything for anyone else is immoral. And so I say the two things that have to change in order for us to not kill the thing we live on is capitalism and population. And that comes from actual science papers and finding out everything I could for, you know, I wanted to be able to be like, this is what solar's doing on Earth Day, and this is what wind is doing on solar. And it cost the planet so much just to produce solar. It's been really a tough one. Yeah. It was much more heartbreaking than finding out that God wasn't real, honestly, and that there are billionaires out there who saw that people were unhappy, and that what the fossil fuel industry has done, I am not negating any of that. I still feel exactly the same about them. But these billionaires who are more liberal, neoliberal, definitely, saw this and thought we could move to biofuels. We'll call it biofuels. And now let's go, you know, legislate and lobby. And there are so many biofuel factories, or whatever they're called, all over this country. And some of them, get to call themselves biofuel factories, and they burn garbage. The garbage that we put in our dumpster and gets taken down to the dump. That's their biofuel. And they also had to sign, you know, they had to apply for acid rain permits because it's healthy and renewable. Like, it's been a frustrating learning experience. I felt very hopeless a lot during it. I hope you guys do all your own search into this. Never take my word for it. I'm still a tree hugger. I still think fossil fuels are bad. I think that these billionaires who played the long game and went out there and created think tanks, found out what people wanted, went out and got into colleges, started pushing biofuel. There's been a lot of colleges that have gone against it because their science, majors were like, wait, you're burning what? How's that better? No, we don't want to burn all the trees. They have started stepping up and saying, no, we don't want them. Which brings me joy, because I thought, God, they're going to be those YouTube environmentalists, with the pussy hats on and the crazy color hair, and they're like, Koch brothers are evil and they're trying to kill all the population with chemtrails. Okay, it wasn't like that at all. It was beautiful, smart people who realized the same thing I was realizing, and they understand that right now there isn't a way forward, but that's not a reason to say, okay, well, fossil fuels. It's just not. It's not. And we have MIT and all these brilliant minds and young ones who care about their future. And they realize that these billionaires, like the guy who owns Virgin Records and Virgin Airlines, him and the guy that heads the Sierra Club, the fucking Sierra Club, and 350.org, these mastermind green environmentalists, they played the long game and switched the script. It's just from one horrible thing, like fossil fuels, to another equally, if not worse, thing. It's just we'll be able to renew some of it for a little while. It's okay. They tried to use seaweed. Listen to this. One of the things was seaweed for fuel. There was a thing. Look it up. Check my words. There was, look up seaweed forest gone. It took 1 year. The seaweed forest that was full of seahorses and beautiful life, it's fucking gone. It won't be back for thousands of years, if ever, because they wanted to use it for fuel. Also, there is liquid fuel, a thing that I was like, well, what's that about? Let me find out what liquid fuel is. Well, they take horses and cows and beautiful animals and put it into this grinder. There's alligators and they show it, and I'm fucking traumatized. Stacy was watching it with me, and instantly she's like, oh my God. And I have to like watch it to tell her when she can look back. And no, we're not going to kill all the animals so we can drive in fucking cars. That's not I will lock my body to something. That is not happening. So, like I said, these billionaires being able to play this long game and legislate and change the words in legislation so that, you know, all renewable. Apple says they're 100% renewable. They're not. They're not. That all the rare earth mining that goes in it, all the fossil fuels needed to create the rare earth mining, the quartz, the copper, the gold, the silver, all that's done, sometimes, many times, proven, peer-reviewed with child labor. You know, children working 15 hours a day for $2 a day. They can't go to school and learn because then they won't eat. Like, that is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. There is, right now, I've heard of so many companies in the last year or two. I even bragged on this channel, again, which I have to apologize, saying I'm so proud of Germany. They reached over 80% renewable energy this year. It's a goddamn lie. They reached 80% of their energy is coming from these biofuel plants and other plants like that who need fossil fuels just to run. Solar fields need at least the first few hours in the morning of fossil fuels to run, to turn on. And then if it gets cloudy, then it has to, I mean, like, there's just no way out. So I do want to leave you with hope that the silver lining is education. We need to fight for education. When wolfpack.com comes to your state, if it's the one political thing you do in your life, do that. Because if there was something going on a Friday night and Wolfpack is in Florida, I won't be here on LEAH. I will be there getting money out of our goddamn politics, because we need money out of our politics, because capitalism allowed these billionaires to flip the fucking script on people like me who really care about these things a lot. And they're all lies. So there's happy Earth Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
did
I'm
really
not
good
saying
research,
you
Christy.
shouldn't do these things. Invest in things that make your life easier, even solar. What I am saying is we need to research more into them. There has to be other ways. There just has to be other ways where we're not hurting more than we're taking. And there's more of us and we consume more. And we live in a system that demands there be poverty in order for the system to work. And I don't agree. So I love this earth. It's the only one I know. And I think it's fucking magical. I don't need religion for the magic that I'm here, that I evolved here over billions of years on this spinning thing in space that's spinning and spinning through. Like, it's fucking crazy. It's like science fiction, but it's real. And I just think that that whole thing is pretty magical, and I don't want to ruin it for others that come after me that are able to learn even more than we know now. I want them to be able to learn even more, and I want this time right now that I don't see a way out of, honestly. I really hope that there will be. I hope that population slowly goes down. We start doing things better for the planet. There are ways to do things individually, definitely. Being conscious about it, teaching our children about it, and with population going down on its own without killing people or telling people they have a limit, just using education. There's always going to be some families. My sister has 4 daughters. You know, she's supposed to have 4 daughters. It's just, it is what they have. I have 2 and my mom had 3. But if everybody's properly educated on the actual facts of these things, that there is no magical way out, that it's our responsibility, that we're an invasive species, maybe they'll make the choice to, gosh, there's a lot of children that need homes. I'll give them
Great
a
power
home.
comes great responsibility, right?
Right. And yeah, I hadn't had cognitive dissonance as hard as I did while researching this since I became an atheist. However, I think this one is going to take a little bit longer to make the hurt go away.
Yeah, this one's kind of a shocker. So I have questions, and I already asked you, but I still want to say it. So I want to know still though, because what we're seeing is that the alternatives that we have, that we think or thought were really, really good alternatives, are not really, really good alternatives. They may be better alternatives, but right now we don't know that. So I don't really know what leaves the lowest net negative impact on what we use as fuel.
Right.
It could be solar power or wind, but those take a lot of dangerous resources.
Right.
Then biofuels, we have like Christy said, we can burn all the trees in the US and that would give us fuel for a year. That's not good.
And the carbon dioxide is so much worse than just like natural gas, because you're burning tire chips and wood that has, you know, all these chemicals in it, or garbage. If you have to ask for a permit for acid rain to have a green biofuel company, I don't know about you, but I have issues with that. I feel like you're negating the whole fucking thing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you said though, the main thing, is capitalism, right? The way that we run our society is really the thing that hurts us the most on all levels.
Bless you. Well,
And,
you know, the guys that were out there that were pushing this, you know, 350.org and Sierra Club out there saying, yes, we want to move from fossil fuels, starting all of these protests. Earth Day has been fucking co-opted by corporations. Same as, you know, Gay Pride Parade was co-opted by corporations that actually gave money to anti-gay legislation in states. This is what has happened to Earth Day. And so we need to also take that back. like these college kids have been doing. Like, no, we don't want biofuels either. We want to actually sit down and work on what we're going to do, how we can do it better, what we can do, and actually do something about it. Not go where we can make the most money, go where we can do the least amount of harm and make the most amount of power. Solar really is awesome as far as getting electricity, but if you can't store it, you need also to be hooked onto a grid, because there's going to be times when you don't have it. And I looked into these batteries, rare earth minerals, lithium. Lithium has so many child laborers. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, anybody that agrees with that, unfriend me. I don't agree with that. And then the mining is done in countries that we've kept third world, so that we can pay them $2 a day, and they have to stay there from sun up to sundown. And then the fossil fuels needed to get those out, to mine them, and then to trek them back. Like, it defeats the purpose. Yeah, it was a lot to take in. I've had to change my mind on not one, two, three, or four, or five things, like a whole part of my heart. Yeah, and I'm
Um,
sorry for anyone who, heard me say we need to invest in biofuels. I did mention when I did on this channel about biofuels, my part on that was, I think algae has got a lot of promise, which is on my list to confirm, which I did at that time. That's why I brought it up, that algae had a lot of promise because it can be renewed in a lab. Like, we don't need to have any nature. We can do it indoors. Um, However, I want to go back. That was about a year and a half ago. I want to go back and make sure, that to create that, it's not using natural gas and fossil fuels. And because those weren't things that I looked into to creating the biofuel. And I'm so sick of being duped by the less the 0.1% of the 1%. They're so wealthy in this plutocracy that they're able to create think tanks that can go out and see how people feel, and then use that to create a campaign, like the guy from Virgin Records and the guy from Sierra Club, and then use that to go to all these colleges and make all these speeches about moving to biofuel and how it will be so much better. And he even was the first guy to fly a 747 on coconut oil fuel, which I thought was fucking awesome, because I mean, it is cool that we can make fuel out of that. But how many coconut trees do we want to kill? And how much land would we use that could be used for actual things without killing it? We're going to kill the land growing the same thing over and over again. This guy and the others and the Koch brothers, the fossil fuel guys, who are always, if you like fossil fuels, or say that any person on the left is, if you don't like them because they're on the right, it's because they're funded by the Koch brothers. That whole thing. The Koch brothers are funding both sides. Many of these billionaires are funding both sides because they see where it is going and how this biofuel industry is taking over. And also, I mentioned today, if I was an evil person, knowing what I know right now, I would take 20, maybe even $200 and go buy stocks in biofuel, because it is exploding right now. And I would make money. And you know what that would do? That would tell the industry to keep fucking doing it, because people are buying into it. The stocks would grow, because every time someone buys into it or makes money, then more people do. And then that tells this whole system to do it some more, because growth, 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 growth. And I would make a shit ton of money off of something that is poisonous and I don't believe in. And that's why, again, another reason, I think number 207, that I will never be a billionaire. Yeah. My heart's broken over this story. I really wanted to give you guys, we need positive, and I really, really wanted to bring you, like, a nice thing, but that's not what I found. So.
I'm really sorry, Christy. I know that was like super fucking hard for you.
It was. And
Yeah.
I haven't been feeling good. I mean, I was like, thought I was dying a day and a half, 2 days ago, and then all the way till yesterday. Yesterday, I was horribly sick from 1 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon, 12 hours. I mean, just horribly sick. Fever, low fever. I'm still really, really tired. But once I got makeup on, I was like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. And then researching this to make sure that, you know, what I had ready about what biofuels are doing, what solar's doing, what this is doing, and, you know, what the good things that I wanted to tell you, the regulations that Trump has taken away, and, you know, the public lands that he is trying to ruin, and like all of these things. And then I thought, we talk about Trump and the dumb shit he does all the time. I really need to tell you that what I found was I was wrong, and that I had been lied to by institutions that I trust for reasons that are beyond the way I think, for reasons that are so malicious to say, you know what, in 10 years, we're going to make billions because we're going to convince everyone that this way is better, even though it's just one horrible way for another horrible way. And it sucks to have to admit that people that I do not agree with on anything are right about anything. And when they are. And there have been conservative, very conservative people that I don't agree with saying much of the green energy is a money-making scam. It's a money-making scam. I don't know how else to say it. They played the long run. They convinced people. They bought Earth Day. You know, they go up on stage on Earth Day with concert. This whole thing is provided and powered by solar, and then it starts sprinkling, and you see all these people running around in the background, closing everything down, hooking them up to the grid because they don't have enough solar. You know, and it's just like, I would rather know. Let's know that it's made out of quartz, not sand. Why lie? Because, you know, people will be like, wait, doesn't it take a lot of fossil fuels and mining and hurting the earth just to make them? They don't want people to know that. And it's not renewable. Yes. So if you're a young science kid, I know they're probably not watching this now, but maybe one day some little nerdy, brilliant, beautiful mind, boy, girl, in between, I don't care. Maybe we're going to even look like humans in the future. Happens to come upon this. Start using that noggin and worry about energy and figure this shit out, because it's not going to be fossil fuels that kills us. It's going to be human population and capitalism, unfettered capitalism. If there's a reason to hurt the earth, and that reason is money, because people are so impoverished, they're going to do it. And even if they're not, if money is the system, if profit is the system, it will come before anything else. And if you have a earth that is hurting because we are taking things from it to make money, but taking things from it makes money, we're not going to stop taking things from it because we want to make money. That's the problem. And I see now that it's way bigger than I can even wrap my mind around. And I hope I didn't bring everyone down, but what I do hope is that I enlightened some minds. I hope that maybe you want to get involved and find out, you know, call these people out. No, I'm not giving Sierra Club $1 again. No, I am not giving 350.org I'm actually going to give them a piece of my mind. I think that it's disgusting. And I'm going to keep following these stories, and I'm going to keep calling them out, because it's immoral. It's immoral, and it's wrong, and it's gross, and you're taking advantage of the need to fix so much that's wrong by lying to people and saying you have the answer, and you don't. I love you guys. I love you guys. It's never black or white, you know. It's I do want to add that Earth Day this year had many positives that it's had in the last many years in many cities. Beijing has clear skies. What? You can see the sky. That's amazing. Dolphins in Italy are swimming into channels that before the lockdown were so dirty you couldn't see through the water. They're crystal clear. You can see dolphins coming up to see people. They're like, what? Why are dolphins here? These things are happening so fast because the planet Earth wants, it's a system, you know, it's evolved into the system. It wants to survive. It doesn't have a want, you know what I mean? It just has ways of balancing things out. And we are an invasive species. We have taken over, and being cognitive of that and not doing anything else, I think, is immoral as well. I know that, you know, I will tell my daughters if they want to have children, I support that. But like, you don't need a litter. you just don't need a litter. Nobody needs a litter. I think that it's wrong. So, and I also think capitalism is wrong. There needs to be protections. Any system that demands that poverty has to exist in order for the system to exist is immoral. And so if capitalism could put regulations in that made it like Finland, they have zero like extreme poverty, but they also have zero extreme wealthiness. I'm okay with that then. You know, like, let's just do better than the last generation, people. And fact check your beliefs because you're going to get your heart broke, but you'll learn. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had multiple examples tonight of how capitalism sucks. Seems to be the unintended underlying message of the night. Shall we move on to the last topic quick?
Yes. Yes. I do want to promote a book. I don't know if you can see that. It does say Democracy at Work, A Cure for Capitalism, even though it's switched. Richard Wolff. Yes. Cornel West, who is one of my personal heroes. He is a hero to me. He has a cape. You guys can't see it. I see it. It's on him all the time. He calls this required reading for all of his students.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
It's the counter argument.
Noam Chomsky even talks on the back about this book. So. Yes.
All right. So beyond Bernie. So this is something I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks, as you know, because I keep bringing it up. The election that's coming up. I'm so incredibly frustrated with everything that's going on. Between how the two-party system is dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, how they're dealing with healthcare in general, how they're dealing with just this capitalistic system that we have, how they dealt with the internet. I forget the legislation. Do you remember what it was called, Christy? They took out the provisions for the internet. That was forgot the name of it.
I know. I did too.
Oh, shoot.
did
where
too.
basically they took out net
No,
neutrality.
net neutrality. There you go.
Yes.
I
You
was
said
like,
the first word and they got it. Thank you. You saved
you-
us. Net neutrality. Like neither side really fought to keep the internet neutral.
Right.
And wars, right? We see
Right.
how Donald Trump is treating Iran, and wishy-washy on Afghanistan, and how Joe Biden responds with, "Wouldn't it be better if I was in charge of these wars?" It's like,
Right.
no, you're like, we don't want you. We just don't
No.
want the wars. That's the wrong premise, buddy.
Yes.
We're not.
Yeah, when he said that, that was my first response, was like, this idiot saying, don't you want me when we bomb those people, or him when we bomb these people? I'm like, no, we don't bomb them. How about that's an option?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are just as against Julian Assange, and government secrets being let out as the Republicans are. Like, we don't have a system or a political party for the people. The closest we have ever gotten in modern times is maybe getting Bernie Sanders as a president, because he wants more transparency. He wants policies that are for the people. He wants Medicare for all. He wants education for all. He wants money out of politics. And I think he wants to give more notice to third party advocate for at one point, but he doesn't go far enough. So what I suggest is that we start a new hashtag, post Bernie. And this hashtag I want to make just the movement of what Bernie Sanders stood for, his policies, because that's what we wanted, right? This is post Bernie because Bernie's still in the picture, right? But he's not fighting for what he was fighting for. But we still need to fight for that.
The movement is still very strong.
Yes. And we have Nina Turner still trying to help us fight. So that's wonderful. But this is post Bernie time. And we need to keep this hashtag going through the election. And what I want to use it for is being like, hey, we are still pushing for Medicare for all. Hey, you're not getting our vote unless you support this. Oh, cool. The Green Party wants to support this. I guess we're voting for the Green Party. Maybe we'll do it all down ballot too. We don't give a fuck anymore. We fall in line every goddamn time we're told to. We're fucking sick of it. Because how many times do I have to say, look, I don't want Trump to be president for the next 4 years, but I also don't want Pence in 4 years.
Right.
I don't want it. If we get Biden in 4 years, we're going to get Ivanka or Pence or someone awful.
Somebody off. Yeah.
As soon as the Democrats, we go back and forth. We've done that for like the last couple decades. Like we just go Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, because it's just such a close fight. But the largest fucking voting block that we have are the non-voters. People who aren't happy about it. So we need to coalesce under one party, and the closest party that we have that are for the people, that isn't fucking crazy like the Libertarian Party, is the Green Party. Right. That needs to be our default.
I do have a couple, issues with the Green Party.
Yeah.
But compared to the Democratic Party, which I have way more than two, even with Bernie, he didn't agree with every single thing, but his policies most aligned with my morals, my idea of policies. I I don't agree that GMOs are bad or poison, and the Green Party is like,
There's
so anti. And there are
that.
people who vote Green Party who think that chemtrails are real. And so maybe, not maybe, definitely all America, all of it, everywhere, even the tree huggers need to be educated, and we need critical thought. We need to understand that even if we heard it from a source that we believe in, hence my whole last story, fact check the shit out of it. Find out how many fossil fuels how many fossil fuel corporations Sierra Club is in bed with. That'll blow your mind. There's so many things like that. I think that
So I see down here in the chat something that reminded me of what I was going to mention anyways. I forgot. Chat. I love when Chet's here. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
He said, Bernie is still in Joe Biden's ear. And that is true.
Yeah.
The issue I have with that is so is Nancy Pelosi.
Yep.
So is Kamala Harris. And so is Chuck Schumer. Maybe AOC, doubt it. They haven't even reached out to her at all, which is fucking weird, right? So my issue is, let's say Bernie is Biden's VP, even. Nancy Pelosi, if she's still in the House, who do you think he's going to side with? If she's whispering in one ear and he's whispering in the other, who do you think Joe Biden is going to ignore, and who do you think he's going to listen to?
Right.
Who is just he more apt to listen to? Even if Bernie's in the administration, he will be ignored. He's always been ignored. Like, we don't have any power. Like, any power that we could have had, Bernie gave away. He threw to the wind to show that, no, I'm going to do what I said, and I'm going to support the Democratic nominee, whoever it is. Right. And that's that. And that's wonderful. I'm glad he's a man of his word, but that he just threw everything. He could have done what Kyle said and said, here's a list of 10 executive orders. I need you to get these done if I support you. If not,
right. And think if he did that. Think if Bernie said, you have to, if you want my endorsement and me to go tell all of this movement, my stadiums of 20,000 people that were full before this virus, my movement, you want me to go tell them to support you. I need to be able to go tell them that you agree with Medicare for all, that you agree with education for all, that you agree with canceling all student debt, that you also agree to making, early care and daycare free for all working people. Just basic necessities that you plan on fighting homeless. Just name these things that you will, and I will go tell my people. I have to tell you, as someone who I can't Biden. I don't Biden. That would make me say, you know what? So many people, including Stacy and my daughters and Mac and his wife and his children, need health care. They need health insurance. They don't have it. So Medicare for all, to me, is a human right. If you look up constitutions, name a country that we went to war with and then helped rebuild, like Japan, Britain, Japan, England, Germany, any of these countries that needed us to go help them rebuild and help them build their constitution. If this happened before the neoliberalism era, before the late 70s and on, you'll see social democratic constitutions written into their constitution. Healthcare is a human right. Education is a human right. Like, these things are not inalienable. You can't take them from them. And that's because FDR was the president here and was trying to get those things done here. He even wrote the second set of human rights, of human liberties, and in them included healthcare and education, the right to a job that pays enough so that your family can even go on vacation. Like these were FDR's, you know, that's where our country was headed, and so many other countries have these things written into their constitution as a human right, protected and supported by the government. That's why if they change their mind about their career and need to take 2 years off to learn a new skill, their government will pay for the school's paid for, and give them $2,000 a month to pay their bills and get by while they're going to school. Yes, that happened because of social democracy that was being demanded by the people all over this planet. I mean, all of the worker uprisers, all of the general strikes, all of that was happening. Students, workers were doing sit-in strikes, and FDR was watching the bosses hire goon squads to just beat the living shit out of and kill. And the police were involved too. And so they locked down side plants all over 1931, 32, 33. And FDR said no and sent in the National Guard. And the National Guard set up at those plantations, at those factories, and faced their 50 caliber guns out at the police and the bullies. Like, no, you're not going to, and help them get their demands. We need to have the people, the ruling class, the plutocracy, scared again like that. And I know that does sound violent, and I'm anti-violent. However, their policies are violent to many. You might not see it, and you might even think that sounds hyperbolic, but I have seen it. I've seen the violence that capitalism causes. Profits over people is violent. Death squads, corporations hiring people to kill indigenous people because they want to encroach on their land to grow sugar. You know, like yeah, capitalism and human population is going to be something that well, I told you I want to be covering anti-imperialism very soon, and population control is going to have to be a part of that. It's going to have to be a part of everything, and we're just going to have to be cognitive of this. And that's why parents planning, family planning is an education that should be spread throughout the planet and paid for by some sort of an organization that cares, a humanist one who understands that population is existential, that it is more dangerous to our own civilization and existence than your fossil fuels is. And educate everywhere. Third world, second world, third world, outer world, the moon. Let's just get it done. Let's get it done. Listen, have sex all the time, wear a condom, use protection, plan your children, and don't have a litter. You only have 2 boobs. Like, how are you gonna feed them all? I know you don't have them all at once. I'm being silly. I mean, I guess some people do. Do you remember Octomom? Crazy. That's how my brain works. Over here. Yeah.
I'm about burnt out for the night.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That was a lot. Yeah, don't be sorry. You did good. So I'm gonna share this real quick, if it lets me. Down here in the chat below, I post a little thing on Twitter. You guys should click the link, check it out, like it, share it, add to it. Please add to it. That's our first post burning hashtag Twitter thing. So build onto it. I want more people to see it, say something like it. I really do want to keep this hashtag going for a while. You know what? And I'll read a couple every show. If you guys pass this around, I'll grab a couple each week, some good ones,
Right.
and I'll read them
Yeah,
out.
because Mac and I, we love Bernie, but honestly, whoever was, fighting for, pushing, and proposing these policies would be the one that we support.
Right.
So
And
it's not him, us, and we support these.
Us.
So we just need the next person who is going to support them. I don't care what they look like, who none of that matters. What matters is inside and the policies. And
what they fight
let's
for.
all try to be policy voters. And you don't have to be a policy junkie like me. You just don't. But be a policy voter. Be just like me, goddammit.
Be like Christy. One thing that I don't think I shared here on the show is I was devastated when Bernie dropped out. I was really upset. And then when I heard that Bernie was going to endorse Joe, it was between that time. I told my wife, I'm just like, all of this really, really sucks, but I'm really, really happy that I disagree with Bernie, because I'm not a sycophant. And that's what I put in this tweet.
Right.
And like, I don't just follow Bernie just because I like Bernie Sanders. Right. I call him out when I feel like I need to, when he's wrong, and when I just disagree. And that's what we need to do. Like, we don't have any real Superman, any real heroes who just do perfect all the time, right? There's no Jesus here. There's
no Yeezy.
No Jeezy. So even though that's cheesy, but the point is, fight for policies, and he had some real good policies, and that's what we need to carry on. We need to carry on and build to those. And he is a really good icon. There'll be peace when you are done. Never monetized. Never.
Don't you cry
no more. So with that, I think that's a good spot to leave it for tonight, actually. I'll stop talking.
It is a very good spot.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another Friday night.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or good puns, leave them down below. And we love you guys. We have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside, and stay
humanist, for God's sake.